It's the special playoff edition of the Luther Lion Podcast with head coach Sean Meek. Brought to you by State Representative Lewis Moore and the Luther Register. This is a huge weekend in Luther. The Pecan Festival on Saturday, and before that, the Lions hosting Chandler 7 p.m. Friday at Wilson Field in round one of the Class 2A playoffs. This week, how this squad compares to great Lion teams of the past and the difficulty in facing a Chandler team that he says is entirely different and better than the team the Lions defeated back in September.
Yeah, it's got a lot of things going on in town this weekend. I'm definitely excited to get back to hosting a playoff game, and it makes for a great atmosphere, and you know, timing along with all the events going on in town right now. It's definitely exciting. But yeah, it's really exciting for our players and our fans to be back home hosting a playoff game this week. Very pleased last week with how our guys came out on all three phases. We talked about it prior. Field was not in great condition. We had some wet conditions, had some slick field conditions we were dealing with. One of the things that we talked about throughout the week, because we knew it was going to be that way, is that both teams are going to be playing in conditions that aren't great. One team's going to deal with it better than the other one. One team's going to respond to adversity better than the other one, and that's the way it is in every game. And we like to think that our mental toughness and kind of the things that we continue to preach is that we're always going to be the team that responds better no matter the circumstances. I was really proud of how our guys came out, and we were able to establish the run game early, and that opened everything else up. That was really I was really pleased with our physicality. I think that there was no question that our physicality across the board, whether it was O-line, D-line, skill positions, blocking on run plays, defense controlling the line of scrimmage, forcing turnovers. I think it was pretty apparent that our physicality played a role in the game, and being able to create some turnovers on defense and things like that and play clean special teams. Now, I was very, very pleased with the approach that our guys had to the game, given the conditions and not allowing it to affect us. Yeah, everything's complementary off of each other, and we kind of already talked about establishing the run game. It always starts with that, and then that opens up a lot of the play action and things that we do off of that. But Peyton, no doubt, made some really good reads on some things that he had options, to run the ball or throw the ball and pre-snap reads. So he made some really good reads, some really, really clean throws, but we talked about it in film on Saturday. A lot of those things are a collective effort from 11 guys of running backs carrying out a great play fake, of offensive linemen understanding the situation and blocking it well, and then receivers filling the voids of based on what the defense does and how safeties play the run game and things like that. So no doubt about it, really, really pleased in how well we were able to the run game and pass game to complement each other. I felt that we did both well, and one really opens up the other. So it was a clean game, and it was really really, really fun to watch. It's been a lot of fun to watch this group of guys mature and grow closer as a unit and get better each week. I think we're a much different team in mid-November than we were in mid-August, and that's been a lot of fun to watch. I think we've gotten better each week, and I know that's cliche and easy to say, but our guys have embraced a lot of the little things that we talk about each week, and it's been a lot of fun to watch us improve each week. And one of the most enjoyable things about this team has just been, and I know we've talked about this many times before, but just their toughness and their resiliency. And even in the game that we came up short against Chisholm, the toughness, the effort's there, and it's been there all season. It's been there since August 12th, the first day we got these guys for the first day of practice. So that's been really enjoyable, and it's made it really fun. And it's made this group an incredibly fun group of kids to coach. They are very, very coachable. They get the scouting report every Monday, and they put their nose to the grindstone and go to work. And that's been really, really fun. And throughout the season, ups, downs, positives, adversity, everything involved. These guys never wavered. They never let it affect. We talk about don't let yourself get too high or too low. these guys never really let much affect them, and it's been really fun to watch. It's been really enjoyable to be a part of and to coach them, and it's just the toughness has been there from day one, and that's been really enjoyable. And I think we've been able to improve technically and fundamentally throughout the season. Yeah, that's a really tough question to answer. There's no doubt about that. I don't know the best way to answer this, and the 16 team went to the quarterfinals too the year after the 15 team. So
went down to Lindsay
and won, and that was a big time win for the program and the school, and got into the quarters, and so we've been able to enjoy some pretty good football the last 4 to 5 years. It's tough to say. Each team has their ways that their own identity, their own personality, that you understand what that is, and then you focus on that, and you realize what you're good at and what you're not, and how you win games. It's really, really tough to compare, and it's almost impossible to compare. But I know that this group of guys this year, they have continued to find a way, and that's one thing that's been really fun to be a part of. Is we found ourselves up big, we found ourselves behind in games, we found ourselves having to respond to moments that the ball didn't go our way, or we had a turnover or something like that. But these guys just keep on chipping, they keep on going to work, and that's been really fun. So that identity that this team has developed has been, as a collective group, one of the best that I've ever personally seen at Luther. Just the ability to not let anything affect them. But as far as comparing teams, it's tough. We've been able to have some really good football teams here the last 4 to 5 years, and like I said, they each have their own identity. Some team strengths are, one year you may have more depth, one year you may have more playmakers on the edge, you may have more depth on the offensive defensive line. So each year to year you can do things different that a team previously or later may not be able to do as well. So, but you find what works for you year to year. You find what your identity is, and these guys' identity has been toughness. These guys' identity has been again, never flinching, never let anything waver their mentality and what they show up to do every day. Yeah, it's kind of this is a first for me, and I don't know as far as facing a team in the playoffs that you've already faced earlier in the year. But every team's a lot different. That was 2.5 months ago. I think we're a lot different. I think Chandler's a lot different too. I think we've both improved from that game in September. They do a lot of things later in the season. They've shown things since they played us that they've done differently, or so good teams continue to improve. I don't think either one of us is the same team that played in September. Now at the flip side of that coin, both teams still have their identity of who they are, and you're never going to waver too much from who you are and what you do well. So both teams are here for a reason. We've been able to win football games this year. So is Chandler. So it's not like you're going to stray very far from what's got you here. We're pretty familiar with each other, playing each other, and obviously the film you accumulate throughout the season. Both teams are familiar with each other. As far as preparation, you go back and watch the first game. You look at things throughout the season. It is a little bit different because we've played once, so they're familiar with us just like we are with them. But again, 2.5 months later, this game is different than that game in September. So we're going to focus on what we feel that we're doing well right now, and I'm sure Chandler is too. So yes, the familiarity is there, but this is almost two different teams and two different times a year. So it's going to be a whole different game within itself. Health-wise, again, we've talked about it before, but continue to be pretty fortunate in that area. Again, these guys have been playing football since beginning of August, so your natural bumps and bruises are there. Your day-to-days are there, and we try to monitor that and make decisions with that to keep our guys ready to go for Friday. But we've been very, very fortunate in the area of keeping our guys healthy and on the field. It's been, that's part of something this time of year that every team's dealing with, and we've been lucky. And again, we just continue to hope that we stay away from that, and we've got everybody we need going in. Yeah, it should be. Everything's the same as normal. OSSAA sets everything at a 7:30 kickoff, and then schools can agree to change that. Chandler and us both have agreed to have a 7 o'clock kickoff Friday, so there's no different from our normal standard 7 o'clock home kicks that it's been all year. Gates will open at 5 o'clock. So, yeah, it shouldn't be, as far as the pregame process, shouldn't be really anything different than we've experienced all season. Our kids have definitely felt the support all season long. I truly think it's made a difference in a lot of games this year. Our guys have been able to grind out wins in the second half and find ways in the third and fourth quarter. So I think we got a fun group of guys to watch. I think our team has done a lot of things to and not only the win-loss column, but just giving our community and our school something that we can definitely be proud of with how we've handled ourselves and how we've played and the toughness. I think this team has really become their identity. So we appreciate all the support. We hope to pack it out again Friday night and give our guys a great environment. And hosting a playoff game is not something that everybody gets to do every year. And it's something that I feel that we've earned, or as a school, as a team, as a town, we've earned. So hopefully have a great crowd again Friday night and give our team a great atmosphere.
That's all for this week's episode. Remember, the Lions-Chandler playoff game kicks at 7 p.m. Friday night. This podcast is brought to you by State Representative Lewis Moore and the Luther Register.